We'll take a break from Victoria and its Premier to someone else behaving very badly. A book has been released, Finding Freedom it's called, by a couple of royal watchers, including a young man called Scobie. Now, it is very, very sympathetic to its subject, Meghan Markle, the runaway royal, and to her husband, Prince Harry, and it contains the most intimate details and very nasty allegations like, accusations the royal household was racist to poor Meghan, that the Duchess of Cambridge snubbed her so rudely, and that the Queen overruled poor Meghan Markle in a choice of wedding tiara, although Markle generously blames the Queen's dresser. And at the time, when this book was released, Markle and Harry denied they'd given interviews for it or contributed to any way, but now I think there's reason to believe they might not be telling the whole truth. You see, Markle is suing a British newspaper for publishing a letter that she wrote to her father that he then released. And as part of that case, she's asked the court to keep secret the identities of 5 friends who've very kindly been briefing the media about her. And the judge said, fine, he'll do that, but has now added that Meghan's representatives in this court case have meanwhile not only been energetically briefing the media about these proceedings, but that some of her evidence was leaked beforehand to this same Scobie of the tell-all book. And the judge said the inference invited is that Scobie had been provided with a copy by representatives of the claimant Meghan Markle. This seems very likely. And I've got to ask, if she or her representatives leaked to Scobie now, how much did she leak to Scobie before? Joining me are Gemma Tognini, columnist with the West Australian, communications consultant, and Ms Sweeney, who's worked for Coalition Prime Ministers and Premiers and is also a consultant. Ladies, let me start with you, Christy. What do the judges' comments say about Meghan Markle?
Oh, I think the judges' comments say about Meghan Markle what everybody thinks about Meghan Markle. And, I'm really interested to know, I thought Meghan would have given somebody who was a bit more racially and gender diverse a leg up to write her book. She's chosen somebody that is young and obviously in need of a career boost and wants to set them on the right path. Why didn't she fall into line like a Vogue cover and choose a young, racially diverse woman, perhaps, to leak all that material to?
The co-author is a woman, and his name is Omid. That gives you a little clue. And listen, on the youth, the thing there, Gemma, is that when they're young, they're easily trained.
Well, I wondered if he'd graduated high school yet. He looks like he's dressed up in his dad's suit. I don't mean to be uncharitable, but I'm being a bit uncharitable. Listen,
Gemma,
this is hilarious.
All the talent needed from him was an ability to take shorthand. Come on.
I do ponder the existence of people who are so lacking in self-awareness that they don't actually see the farcical nature that their lives have descended into. The couple that, scream for their privacy, who are busy briefing out, you name it, and, pimping out their kid on Instagram when it suits them and then complaining when people take photos of them, they're a bit pathetic, really. Like, they're actually a bit pathetic. I kind of hate myself for offering an opinion on them, but I can't come to the show empty-handed, Andrew. It's just I struggle to find find things that I care about less. I really do.
I think it just suggests to me that a lot of the dirt being dished against the Queen and against the Kate Middleton, etc., and against the the Duke of Edinburgh, might be coming from a source, very close to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. And how ungracious is that?
I've got to say, though, guys, I mean, they're arguing over what tiara she got to wear on her wedding day. It's not woke. It's not really that woke, is it, Christy?
Oh, that's a good point. Christy, but listen, you ladies with your vast experience, consultants both. I want to go back to the Victorian scandal. Chrissy, I want you to imagine that I am the Premier of Victoria, Daniel Andrews. I'm presiding over this disaster. It's suddenly coming unstuck. Advise me.
Well, first thing I will say, if we are imagining, Andrew, that you are the Premier of Victoria, I am glad there seems to be about 3.5 kilometres between us at this current time, because I'm not quite sure what I would say to him if I actually faced him in person these days. Look, what I will say is that thank goodness that some of the media are finally coming around to the fact that this inquiry, a judicial inquiry, as the Premier continues to refer to it as, however, it never was, it never will be. The terms of reference of this inquiry do not give it the powers to seize documents, to have search warrants. The judge can make amendments to the terms of reference and request documents if she feels that it falls within the scope. Of course, I don't think that she will. It doesn't have the similar powers like a royal commission. There is nothing judicial about it. And if you read the terms of reference, they are very strictly written to seek documents and processes and protocols and policies that were communicated agency to agency, not agency to minister. So there is, unless the judge does deem that she wants to request those documents to further the scope of the terms of reference, which are at her discretion. But in nowhere in those terms of reference does it mention political office. It never was a judicial inquiry. It never will be.
It takes someone who's been working in government to know how governments manage these little things so they don't blow up in their face. But Gemma, you know, maybe you can't give the Premier any advice, because what I think is really amazing about it is that he has perfected a trick that it took me years to learn, and I probably haven't mastered it. That is, even when everything, you know, the house is burning around your ears, is to look so calm and in control that people think, maybe there's not a crisis. Maybe he does know what he's doing. You know, it just looks so in control that it could be a complete fly circus behind him, and people are still doubting their own ability to judge whether that is so.
There's an analogy I'd like to give very briefly. A friend said to me once, when you're in the middle of the Eiffel Tower, you can't see how tall it is. My view and my take as an outsider to the state of Victoria and an observer of Victorian politics is that Daniel Andrews' arrogance and the government's arrogance and their complete disdain for accountability, which has been evident for all of us who don't live in Victoria for many, many, many years. Let's just go back to red shirts and have a look at that. But, you know, when you're in it and you're living in that state and you know, you've got a government who's spending big on infrastructure and it looks like lots of things are getting done, they get away with it because the accountability is just not being held to account. Now, all of a sudden, it's crumbling around him. He has no answers. The arrogance of who'd want to go to South Australia, that kind of attitude, which really has just been the hallmark of his management of, or mismanagement rather, of this terrible, terrible set of circumstances for Victoria. You can't escape that kind of thing. It always catches up with you. And if I were to be advising him, first of all, Andrew, not enough money in all the world to pay me to take that job on. But second of all, the first rule is don't defend the indefensible and don't lie about stuff, because the lie becomes worse than the original sin. And those two rules seem to have already been broken. I mean, time will tell.
Well, I'm not sure. He's very good at not actually giving a lie, an outright lie. He's just not answering questions. But he looks in control, and I think this is... Yeah, well, that's true, but he looks in control.
I don't think he looks in control at all. I think he looks sweaty and stressed and tired.
We'll see how it goes. Gemma Tognini and Christy McSweeney, it was a pleasure to have you both. Thank you so much for your insights, both of you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks,
nice to see you again, Gemma.
Yes, we'll go for a walk around that lake as soon as we can. I look forward to seeing you in person again.
That could be after
Premier
Christmas.
Mark lets me back in.
No is the answer. Not for months. Ladies, thank you so much.